Um, the 45th gate is, it's one of our most powerful gates of the throat. And it's one of the most powerful gates of the throat because it's directly connected to the ego. So, this is the only pure ego manifesting channel, the 4521. The 4521 has always been about the material plane. It is about the material plane. But it's about the material plane within the context of the tribe, and within the context of the tribe, everything is about support. It's about support. So the material of the tribe is never taken in the name of individuality. All of our tribal politicians who are deeply corrupt and build beautiful houses never claim that they're taking anything for themselves unless we catch them. They're basically taking in income to redistribute it to the people, but of course. So the whole theme of the 4521 is a theme of providing the tribe with the management of their resources. And the 45th gate is the resource management gate that has a voice that says, I have or I don't have. There is no greater voice of possessiveness than the 45. It is the only the 45 that can look somebody in the eye and in all honesty say to them, you're mine. It's really sick, right? Well, I mean, if you're a 4521, I'm sorry, but what to do? It's your problem, not mine. You're mine. Now, this is about possession. Now, we can go into all the other themes of the 45, because the 45 has, an extraordinary influence over the way the tribe works, because it's the only natural outlet of the tribe to the throat. This is traditionally the ruler of the tribe, the one that ultimately controls the way in which the resources move. One of the real themes, though, of the 45 is education. You cannot rule the tribe unless you educate the tribe, because if you don't educate them, they're not going to be able to compete with other tribes, and ultimately, and not just in that sense of education as we know it today. Throughout the history of tribalism, to be able to educate your young to whatever is necessary to compete in the world of its time, this is essential, otherwise your tribe is going to fade away. So the 45 is responsible in that sense for making sure that the tribe is properly educated, which means that resources have to be moved in that direction. At the mundane level, the 45 is a gate that is simply concerned about the material plane. When you look out at the world through 45 eyes, you're looking out at the world in not simply with the material view of those that have and those that don't have, but there's a much stronger language to it. It's about shoulds. The 45 is very powerful. It is a natural ruling gate. And in the same way that, it's not democratic. The 31-7 is democratic. The 45 is a pure dictatorship. This is the king or the queen or whatever you want to look at it. This is the territorial being. And, 45s who don't happen to have their own throne, when they look out at the world, they say, it should be like this, it shouldn't be like that. And whether it's about what people should have or shouldn't have, it is the way they see. They see the way in which the resources are moved. And so often they have very bitter complaints about at every level. Whether it's the way in which the boss of their particular place where they work, the way they distribute resources, it goes through a whole lot of things. But it's also a verbal gate. And as such, what you hear in your seeing is that you see people who are always talking about possession. Through the eyes of the 45, it seems like possession is everything. If you don't have your own home, there's something wrong. If you don't have your own territory, there's something wrong. If people aren't allowed to have, their territorial integrity, there's something wrong. And on and on and on. It's all of this very tribal, very possessive, but it is a way of seeing how concerned humanity is with the material plane. On the other side, you have the 26. You know, when I look at the splenic part of the tribal circuit, the 54, the marrying maiden, the gate of ambition, the 32, duration, this is the gate of the personnel manager, this is the person who can see those that have talent. You know, the 44th gate, this is the you know, the person that runs the departments, that controls the forces. And then you have the 26th gate and you got a salesperson. You know, this is marketing. And this is the other taming. You know, this is the taming power of the great. And this is the great gate of the trickster. You know, it's the 26th gate that fools you. And it fools you with its egoism, because this is the most powerful of the ego gates. And the 26th gate is, you know, a combination of a gate that can be enormously disingenuous, outright liar, to make it clearer in the language. I was being polite. Or they can provide truth that is essential, it's relative, essential for the tribe. And everything about the 26th gate is that its job is to motivate the tribe to spend money. You ever notice, I don't know how many of you are interested in such things, but if you look at the way that economies operate, and the way in which we statistically examine economies and the way they operate, there is a basic factor involved as to whether an economy is going to be successful enough, and that is its consumer spending. It doesn't matter whether you've got a great export business or not. You know, those things don't matter. What matters to all economies is how much money is the tribe willing to spend. When you live in an economy where people are secure enough to spend their resources, you've got an automatically successful economy. And this is what the 26 is always trying to do. The 26 is trying to get you to spend money in the economy. And they don't want you to buy from Japan. You know, they want you to buy from your grocer next door. They want you to buy in your community, because the more you spend money in the community, the more everyone in the community benefits. This is the 26 movie. So the 26 is my archetype of the 26 is the moment the 26 gets a sales job, they call up all their relatives. It's what they do. They call them up. Uncle Louie, have I got a refrigerator for you? You know? And 9 times out of 10, hey, you know, all right, I'll help the kid out, I'll buy the refrigerator. Not only that, the unfortunate thing is that the 26 gate lied to Uncle Louie about how good the refrigerator is, because it's always the best. Eh? I mean, I'm a 26, folks. Eh? It's always the best. Eh? Human design is the very best. It's always the best. You know, and spend money. It's good for the economy. You know? But it's true. It is the essence of the 26. The essence of the 26 is that it propagandizes the taming power of the great. And the 26 gate is a great gate of memory. You even have a line in there about censorship, you know, where you just erase the memory entirely. Eh? Yes, our company used to make... you don't tell them. You know, it's like, you know, a 26 that goes for a job interview, you know, and there's 17 years missing in their resume, you know. No, we don't want to talk about that. Yeah. No, it's okay. I was in jail. No. Yeah. Anyway, so the whole thing is about the egoism, because this is the egoism. If you're looking out at the world through the eyes of the 26, what you see are people ready to be hustled. I mean, that's what you see. You look out in the world and you look at them and you think, good God, they can be fooled so easily. It's quite amazing. I mean, it's quite amazing. And how easy it is to manipulate them. And how much people want to buy the best. You know? Everybody wants to buy the best. Everybody wants, you know. And the tribe? The tribe is here to support. How do you think all of these businesses survive? They survive on having repeat business, on creating their customer base, their relationship of mutual support. The biggest industry in the world is the service industry. Providing tribal support. Here it is. Let's give you all these services. So when you're looking at the 26, and the 26 is looking out in the world, it sees that there are all kinds of ways in which the tribe can be motivated to spend money. And that the more they spend money, the better it is. The better it is for everyone. 26 gate has no awareness. It has no awareness. The ego is not an aware thing. So whether the ego is ever going to operate correctly or not is totally dependent on the correctness of the being. There is something very frightening about the 26 gate that the 26 node gets to see. The 26 gate is the gate of the thymus gland. This is the designer of your immune system. And in the 26 gate is the T cell, and the T cell, the thymus cell. These T cells, they're our soldiers. They protect us. They're our fighters. And the thing to understand about the 26 is that it does its work to support tribe. It may look like they're profiteering, but the reality is that they actually create the extended vibrating economy by constantly pushing that movement. But there's something else. They are the tribe's soldiers. They are the tribe's warriors. They are the tribe's killers. Sometimes you can't sell the tribe in the next valley your products. So you just conquer their valley. That's also part of the 26. And so when you look out and you have 26 nodes and you look out into the world, you also see that one of the risks of tribalism is violence. And you see the potential for violence everywhere. Everywhere. We had Pluto for 3 years in the 26th gate. It just left not too long ago. And during the time of Pluto in the 26th gate, we had this intensification of, tribal violence all over the planet. This is part of what the 26 brought, aside from the fact that it brought mutation to the bird population that all of us sooner or later are going to have to deal with. The 26 gate is deeply connected to our immune system, and it is the hot gate. The 44 is the cold gate. The 26 is the hot gate. This can be very hot-headed. It can be very violent. And it's always violent in the name of the tribe. And when you look out at your tribe and you see, in our modern societies, for example, political movements that are against immigration, you're seeing the work of the 26 gate. It says, we do not want these foreign elements in our genetic body. And this 26 gate does that. And this is when I say things like that, I'm talking about the not-self. I'm talking about the way the not-self works. And not only will they see that, but they will see the need for that as well, relative to their awareness. And of course, the fact is that they're basically ignorant, so it's quite frightening. And more than that, during those 3 years that Pluto was in the 26th gate, going back to late 2002, we have had tens of millions of children born with this configuration. Tens of millions of children who 20 years from now are going to very comfortably be able to bear arms, and they're all carrying it. They're all carrying Pluto in the 26. They will all fight for their tribe in one way or another. It is part of their nature, unless they're correct, unless they're aware. It's a very powerful force, unaware.